Yeah, they do have a contractor that's working on finishing up the concrete work. He thinks he'll probably finish it by the end of the week, if the rain allows him to, but if not, we'll finish it up work next week. And the asphalt work should be done by the end of the following week, from the same contractor.
That area by the school?
Yes.
The asphalt that way?
Not next week, but the following week. We wanna make sure that we finish doing,
Memorial Day week, that week of Memorial Day.
yes, completely. Trying to think the name of the road right there, just north of the school was Lucian. We've got a dig on Lucian right there, we wanna finish it so we can do all the asphalt later.
Okay, so what about that line got a dig on the 53?
The only digging there on,
Oh, yeah, well, down by the road.
oh, yeah, where you're crossing the road there, I don't know when that lateral is scheduled to be done. So when, after it's done, they'll have to patch that again. And there will be several more while they're doing the laterals that they'll have to patch. It won't be completed, but what I'm saying is what we already have now that's tore apart, plus Lucian, will be done next week. Week after next. As soon as they finish Lucian up, they're going to asphalt everything that's open now.
We're down to the,
Wait a minute, Mr. McGee, did he answer your question?
Oh, you didn't say anything about.
That is not my call, that's the board's call.
Board. So the system will still be utilizing the lagoon at the end of this project, right?
At this point, right now, we are, yes.
Who's asking?
I said, at this point, right now, we are, unless the board makes a decision to go to Demopolis or something else. Right now, we're just working off the lagoon.
So what are you saying? If we go to Demopolis, we won't utilize the lagoon? Is that what you said?
It will be used as a surge pond, but not as a treatment pond. In other words, it will be used, if, in case you get more rain than the pumps can handle, it would go into the lagoon, and then as it dries out, that water will come back into the pump station and be pumped on. That's all that it'll be used for, is just a surge.
And you all were doing something on County Road 53 about 2 months ago. Was that a pumping station they putting out there? It was right prior to getting to the spray field that they were going to do years ago. Near the Woodruff place, what was going on there? I live down there, that's why I'm
Right.
asking.
that's over where you, where the water got to be.
Oh, that was geotechnical people going in there to see, how to design the, water tank. Water tank is gonna be put there.
Meaning a reservoir for drinking water or some other type?
Drinking
tank? Drinking water.
Okay. We're down to the easement.
you know if we've received any new easements?
All the ones we got, we've already sent to you for over at 63 mil, and the ones that they've already taken the care of. I think it was at your house, wasn't it, Miss McGee? Didn't they get you some?
Yeah,
We had already
Yeah.
signed the easement.
Yeah, but they,
yeah.
we had
They
some more
took
down
care
that
of
way.
problems there. They
We
found
had to
out.
get signed.
Yes, thank you.
I guess I was referring to the new easements that for the
We hadn't had enough for the
lead
water,
pipe.
for the water we have not.
Okay.
Okay, SRF application for funding.
Okay, I have the application for the fire hydrant replacement. Uh, 94 fire hydrants that we have identified that are either too old to get replacement parts for, or leaking, or inoperable, that we have identified to be replaced. Along with that, 5,900 feet of upgrade from small lines to a 6-inch line for a fire hydrant to operate correctly. And the cost of that is $3,265,277. That's what I would like to apply to for SRF to replace those lights. I've got enough documentation from where we've gone out and got, pressures at those fire hydrants that are operable, and then residual pressures when you open it up, see how much pressure is left. That documentation, is in the report to ADM for verification of why we need to either change the fire hydrants or upsize the line to be able to get pressure up to, where when you hook up a fire hydrant to a fire truck, it'll actually work.
Okay, so all that's gonna be included in the upgraded line too.
The upgraded lines are the ones that we have fire hydrants that are on small lines that will not provide that pressure. Those are the ones that we're upgrading to meet these fire hydrants that we,
Upgrading from
Okay.
4 to 6.
some of them will be upgraded from 2 to 6. So there's some fire hydrants out there on 2-inch lines.
Wow.
Just like on water.
No wonder how they're doing that.
Yeah. And that's, but all the ones that we identified that are on small lines, we're showing to update them. Now, there's a lot of areas in the whole town that need more fire hydrants, but that's something that they're not gonna allow with this funding. This funding is only gonna allow you to upgrade from fire hydrants that are there. That's something that, actually the fire department would have to get a grant to get additional fire hydrants for a system.
Do you know how many fire hydrants are in the
We
town?
need,
The city?
resolution.
You've already
Yeah, we-
authorized me to prepare it for you, so I don't think you need another. I just need you to sign it.
That was a question. How many fire hydrants are actually in the city, in town?
120. And out of those, you have 92, I believe, that have problems.
Before you identified.
Two of them were just upgrading to a different,
Gotcha.
it didn't have a.
Now, throughout the city, just part of the city limit.
112?
Yes.
112 fire hydrants.
Total.
fire department would have to be the one to actually,
Ask for a grant.
to put a grant to put, fire hydrants on.
I have not heard anything from ADM on the grant application for the sanitary sewer pump station upgrades. So if you can contact your legislature and try to get that pushed through, we need it.
That may be something that is being done by this budget reconciliation process. I know that we haven't gotten our funds for 2025.
Okay.
And so ADM may be in the same boat. It's a matter of getting the funds. They can't commit to spend money we don't have yet.
All right?
Okay. Item eight, you finished?
Yes.
Okay, item eight. New business. Okay, we need to get a resolution with execute authority to sign the wastewater transmission and treatment agreement.
Can you tell people what we're doing?
Wastewater transportation and treatment contract is still there under negotiation. And that's to be signed, and it's just that we're signing all of them and we want, for them to hold that money so we don't lose it.
Okay, but we're gonna inform them that we have to inform them that that's what we're getting ready to do.
Right. We do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
So you can set up a town hall meeting or public meeting, and what time you want it, if you guys specific date, and,
You want me to address
Yes.
what your young lady here asked what was gonna be the end result after we got through? Well, the plan has always been the funding for, from USDA, from the state of Alabama and from, DRA and other sources has been to completely rehab the collection system, which you're saying is 90-something% complete. So the next step is what are we gonna do with the wastewater that is produced in the city of Uniontown? And that has always been that they're going to transport that wastewater by virtue of a line that will run from our lagoon system at some point to Demopolis's main section, and they will connect, and they will then transport the rest of the sewage through Demopolis's collection system and to their wastewater treatment plant, and it will be treated there. Demopolis is on board. In fact, the item that Mr. Black is about to introduce is there is a contract that needs to be executed. There needs to be a resolution before the board, and I'm not getting in the legal end of it, but this is the process that they will do. Is a resolution will be voted on today for Mr. Black to be able to sign that contract with Demopolis. But that has always been from the day one, that has always been the end result of what would happen. Okay?
That is sort of like
Yes, sir.
putting the board ahead of the project.
Lax, I don't see in this contract where it says 3%.
No, it's 3.5.
It says recipient on page 5, item 13. B. It states that the recipient improves must qualifying the capitalization under general accepted accounting principles to the wastewater treatment plant or primary conveyance infrastructure utilized by the producer, which are requesting or required by the Alabama Department of Environmental Management or other such regulatory agencies. This rate will be based off a percentage of uses by the producer among other attributes. I don't see where it mentions 3%. I do know that was talked about.
Let me look at that page, I got it underlined here.
But I did talk to Mr. Chestnut just before we come into the meeting, and we did talk about the fact that that is something that could be, we're talking about 2027 before you actually start using the system. And there will be ample time to discuss it. The issue at hand is this: the contract has to be executed and signed today, or the problem, the money that's being appropriated through the Demopolis to upgrade their system to handle the treatment so that the discharge is well within the parameters of ADM, or lose the money.
Right.
But the 3% can be, that was mentioned, I do not see it written in this contract. But Mr. Chestnut and I discussed that, and he was in agreement with the fact that that was fine and it needed to be executed today as not only USDA, but ADM and the money that they're providing through the ARPA program.
Okay, did you hear that?
Yes, Attorney President, Attorney Chestnut has stated that if the contract is not signed today, that it would result in the funding being obligated according to the Director, Alan Bowen. And he also requested that Director Alan Bowen would explain some of the details of what was stated at the meeting, as we are aware that they had a meeting with some of the board members, and that they would, give that information to the board as well as what was stated at that meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next you have an opportunity to go through that contract again, we're waiting on, submittal. We'll vote down to the commission.
So, Mr. Bowen,
Yes, sir.
you saying that we're gonna lose the money if we don't?
Yeah, first let me state, USDA does not control this fund.
Right.
Okay, this is controlled by the state legislature,
Oh.
okay, and through ADM. And, that money, what they call ARPA money, had some dates tied to it. And if certain things aren't done on certain dates, then that money is made available to someone else. And I can tell you right now that there are legislatures in Montgomery at the state capitol waiting for somebody not to meet a deadline and take that money and go somewhere else with it. Then that money is no longer available. This money that they're using to fix the line from here to Demopolis and upgrade Demopolis's treatment system, facility, so that when everything's said and done, the environment is not harmed any more than it may already have been. I'm not an environmental, I'm gonna get into that. But there are people waiting to take that money. This is all grant money. Every penny of it is grant
Okay.
money, okay? So, once you lose that grant money, and looking at the budget process that's going on, and ADM gets their money in the same place I get mine, through the United States Congress.
Right.
And grant money is, I can tell you, and looking at the budget process and reading what, grant money is going to be drastically reduced in all aspects. So, is basically now and then.
Okay.
Mr. Bowen, this is Today Frazier, I wanted to ask a question. What is the exact deadline for the grant?
I'm not sure what their deadline is. I do know that I had a meeting with, the people at ADM who administered the money, and basically they asked me, once this meeting was over with, to give them a call today and let them know that it was executed or not executed. If it was not executed, then he couldn't hold the money any longer. I think we're past the deadline, to be honest, but I can't, vouch for the fact of that.
Okay. Is there any way to get a copy of that grant or that, or something to state what the deadline that has expired was, just to make certain that there's not any room for another meeting or a special call meeting to discuss this further?
I can call and see, but I mean, they were very adamant in meeting last, 2 or 3 weeks ago. They were very adamant that today it had to be signed today or forget it.
Okay, that's fine. If you could just get a copy of that, or just give them a call even while you're at this meeting to see what their deadline was, that will be helpful.
I will do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did the board get those contracts just today? Or did you get them on hand? Because I don't know how much time you have to read and understand a contract to be able to sign.
Board members received those contracts on last week.
Last Tuesday, last Wednesday.
And
Last
they
Tuesday.
were waiting.
If the board don't mind, I'll say something. We had a discussion with ADM, and we had a discussion with Demopolis. The board chairman has been involved in some meetings. That's been going on for years, to make this happen. We recently had, at the Alabama Rural Water in March, some of the board members had some discussions. The contract was discussed and made available to them. Also made available to Demopolis. Since after that, Demopolis executed the contract and have sent it here. And Tuesday was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago?
We go.
ADM's representatives, this is their money, not ours, but they wanted to discuss the urgency of this contract, and with the board members, and some of the board members met individually with ADM, and they explained the contract to them, and we asked questions. I had questions also, but again, this is not my money or the federal government money. This is coming through ADM through the ARPA program. And so the contracts have been out there for the board members to review for some time.
Did you answer your question? Yes.
Okay, yes, that does answer that you all had those contracts in your hand for a while. And that's what I'm gathering.
You asked, were we aware of it, how can we sign something so fast? We're saying to you that we had prior knowledge of what was taking place. We got contracts today, we can look at them now and sign them, but we have discussed this last week.
You discussed it, but you didn't have a paper in front of you. Yes, you did.
We did,
You did,
yes.
okay.
And Mr. Chestnut has had a copy of this for some time too, as the young lady has mentioned his comments about it.
If I might, let me be clear. We're here to do what's best for the citizens of Uniontown. We're gonna have to make some decisions sometimes that everybody is not going to agree with. Because that's the kind of society that we live in. I live here too. What affects you affects me. So please don't think that we're here trying to make decisions on our own, but we have to do what's best for the city and what's best for the long term. And this particular contract here and treating the wastewater through Demopolis is gonna bring revenue here. It has to do it, it's the only way we can do it, the money is there, and I think that we should utilize the money while it's here, and while we have an opportunity to do this. But I need the citizens of Uniontown to please, ma'am, please, sir, understand, we're not trying to pull a cloud over anybody's head. I'm not in it for anything but what's best for Uniontown. I've always said I never wanted to be in politics or any of that kind of thing, but we're gonna make decisions sometimes that everybody's not gonna agree with. And if we make the decision that you want, it's gonna be somebody else over here that don't agree with what you want. So allow us, trust us.
That was not the question.
Trust us. I'm speaking in general to the public.
That was not the question.
I'm speaking in general, and I thought we answered your question.
No, you continue to talk about what you wanna talk about. I wanted to know, did you all have these contracts on hand before today?
We didn't have them, we knew about it.
That
We
was
sat down and looked at
yes
it.
or no?
That was last week, we just explained to you that we.
Yes or no? You had them.
Well,
That's
listen,
yes.
one thing is,
But
let me say
regardless
this.
of what, I believe that you're being honest about what you're saying and what you're doing.
Mhm.
But I have the right to ask questions.
And you have the right to ask questions, but let me say something, we also have an agenda. And when it's a public comment, any comments that you have, you should make them
You
then.
can't make prime questions until you can hear what's going on, then you ask an
But
answer.
then you write the question down and we will, as a board, answer to the best of our ability. But if somebody else is on the floor giving what they, presenting what's supposed to be given,
Can I intervene?
yes.
Okay, what has happened, it's been negotiating back and forth. The first stuff that was sent from Demopolis, we were just totally against all the stuff that was going on, so was Boyd, and all of us were just back and forth saying, you know, we need this here, trying to get it down to where it fit into our situation. Every situation was different. Like I explained to them, a lot of our people here on governmental assistance and fixed income. And we had to get those figures down from what they were asking to fit closely into the situation that we have. And they were saying, well, our citizens are paying this for treatment or that, well, what, you thinking that we should give you a discount? This is what coming from some of the ones in Democracy said. I said, well, we're not looking for no handouts, but we're looking for something that's gonna fit. It's just like when you go in a shoe store, you got all sizes. Everybody got a different shoe size, so that means one shoe don't fit all. And so Mr. Boyd been negotiating, and we've been going back and forth, they've been hounding, we've been hounding, until we come up with something that's feasible for everybody.
Thank you.
Mr. Boyd, you just said something?
I would like to ask a question, from something that Mr. Bowen said. This project, this grant is supposed to cover the amount of, the pipeline and to upgrade the Mopley system. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
So the grant that Uniontown is receiving is,
Uniontown's not receiving this grant. The money is for building the line
okay,
to Demopolis and to upgrade their treatment facility so as to be capable, more than capable, of handling the increased sewage. That is a grant that is gonna be given to Demopolis to do.
okay, so why is it that Uniontown board has to approve?
Uniontown doesn't have to approve it. All Uniontown is doing is the board is signing a contract to allow Demopolis to treat their sewage. So Demopolis has to have a contract, just like we have a contract, or we should have a contract, to sell water to Linden, stuff like that. All we're doing is creating a business transaction between Demopolis and Uniontown.
I was just asking a little clarity
Yeah,
based
no
on what
problem.
you said.
But, so all they're doing is voting on a contract with Demopolis. Demopolis is getting the money, not from us, but from the state.
So this is a partnership thing.
Yes, well, not a partnership, it's a vendor interest. It's just like Demopolis is gonna treat the sewage and charge Uniontown for it. Okay? I wish we could sell them our sewage, that'd be a more profitable way, but that's not how it works. And this is not an unusual process. We have several small towns who
Right.
have their sewage transported via a line to other communities who have a larger body of water first. That's the first thing you have to have is, if you're gonna treat sewage, you have a place to put the effluent that's treated. Unfortunately, Uniontown has never had one, but there is one over in Demopolis. And then the other thing is they wanted to make sure that their treatment plant was large enough to handle whatever Uniontown sent to them. But this transaction is just a contract between one utility board to the other to pay to treat the sewage.
Okay. Who's responsible for repairs on this
The
system?
line will belong to Demopolis, and they will be responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the line. Once it leaves Perry County, it belongs to Demopolis.
Okay.
Even on Perry County soil,
Ma'am,
even on Perry County land, cause we go from Perry to Hale to Marengo.
yeah, that line is gonna go, there's gonna be a line built, and I'm not dead certain as exactly the location, but there's gonna be a line built to Perry County, Marengo County line. It will go through Marengo, through Hale, then back to Marengo. That will belong to Demopolis. The line that goes from the master meter, in other words, the line leaves the collection system, and Ed, I'm making this real simple, I hope I'm not messing it up. The line where the end of our collection system is, and all our sewage goes from there, through that line, it goes through a meter, and it'll run to the line of between Perry County and Marengo County and connect. And we will have to, Uniontown will be responsible for the line that goes to the end of Perry County, and then Demopolis will be responsible for the line where it picks up in Marengo County. They'll be responsible for it in Marengo, they'll be responsible for it in Hale County, they'll be responsible for it, when it goes back into Marengo. It'll be it's their line, they own it, they're responsible for it.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, we're down to whether you approve the signature or sign this agreement. All right. Board members.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we sign the agreement, have the wastewater treated by Demopolis.
Okay, motion been made to sign the wastewater transmission and treatment agreement between Uniontown and Demopolis. Constellation, you have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Miller. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Agreement signed. And we might need negotiation.
We'll need to sign that in front of a notary.
Right. Okay, anything else?
Mr. Bowen, does that mean that the sewage is absolutely going to Demopolis, or is that just
Charity, and do business on the business.
The CCR has been mailed out. I got a copy of it here, we'll have some at the office, and we'll have it posted at Town Hall and everywhere else where we normally post it.
Okay.
See, consumer confidence report on the water system.
This year.
Yes, sir.
All we got the question.
Before you end the meeting, I got one thing to say, that'd be the last thing, okay, so you go ahead and then at the end, before we just, I wanna say something.
Okay. Chair, okay, we got this, bid on this, on the chat. We needed to post that too, right?
I think we've already posted it, haven't we?
It's been put in the paper, I'll double check, make sure it hadn't got been posted.
Okay.
We'll make sure.
All right. Okay. Ed,
I don't have anything else.
okay. Mr. Bowen, down to you.
I want to say congratulations to R.C. Hatch High School for winning the state championship in their class basketball because you beat one of my high school rivals, Brantley, Alabama, by 2 points, and I was so happy. You know, congratulations, and again, I think, 11 years in a row?
Well, 11 championships.
11 championships, that's great, but anybody that beats Luverne or beats Brantley, I'm for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I told those guys to do everything that they